This is Come to Daddy with Ruben K, the podcast about parents where I talk to guests whose mums and dads made the mistake of telling them that when they grew up, they could be anything they wanted to be. I'm not saying I've got daddy issues, but the cuff of my rabbi's trousers is filthy. What is wrong with me? Welcome to Come to Daddy, with me, your host, Ruben K, a performer who lives on the line, snorted the line, but also lives their best life between the lines. London, Australia, Germany, Russia, Jewish, atheist, left-wing, but loves money, polka dots, stripes, Scandi minimal versus Louis cans, believing in helping others, but also so self-centered I scream out my own name when I climax. And in that chasm, there's a certain tension between having to make a choice and feeling like you're bouncing between your identities in a desperate existential game of pong with your parents on either side holding paddles. I had, and continue to have, as far as I know, amazing and complicated parents. And like all of us, and often as a child through their divorce, I felt as if I was being bounced between them. I was diagnosed as having ADHD as a child, so that must have been fun for them, and custody handovers definitely felt more like a bomb squad trying not to set off an incendiary device than anything else. Between two parents trying to do their best, between religion and independent thought, between two embittered nations. I'm sure it's all a metaphor for something, but I'm too focused on finding the perfect lipstick shade to find a solution. But as we spiral into black and white, let me introduce you to my partner in crime, or the looming figure of death I'm playing chess with on a clifftop. That's a Swedish film reference. The Trunchbull to my Matilda, or the Archangel to my Mary, the producer of Come to Daddy, Amanda Sangorski.
Hello. You'll know if you've listened to any of these, he never tells me what he's going to say. And also he's allowed me on camera this time, which is quite upsetting for everyone, I should imagine.
I'm so generous. Ever been caught between two places, Amanda?
Well, the booze and...
Fantastic. So between ideas, places and things is where the excitement is. As Leonard Cohen says, that's how the light gets in. And today, we're letting in a ray of light. As we say every day here on the pod, welcome to Gaby, Daddy Rob. Welcome to Daddy, Gaby Welcome to Daddy, Gaby Roslin.
It is Gaby Roslin. He got there in the end. I used to work with Gaby.
Did you?
Yes, we worked on The Big Breakfast together. That's I've known her for many.
And
she says 200 years, but
you were doing crumpets.
I was quite junior.
Coddling
yes.
eggs.
My rat died, and Gaby was. I had a pet rat, and Gaby drove me once home in her open top Porsche. She's always been unbelievably positive and effervescent, and such a lovely person. I always felt quite dirty.
Yeah,
in
what
her
are you
presence.
doing working with someone like that?
Right. Exactly. No, he's right. He's not wrong.
I mean that with love. It's the silence after that makes it seem, if you let things hang, they seem heavier than they're intended.
She's a great person. It's really interesting to see how the chat's going to go between the two of you, because you're very different. You're both very warm at the core, but very different approaches to what you do.
And I'm dead inside.
Again, words are all his. I'd never.
No, that means that she thinks it.
No, I don't. I think you're a genius. We should point people to places that they can get hold of you, the podcast, interact.
That's an excellent idea. We think of Come to Daddy as a rainbow-coloured scream into the void, but we'd love to turn it into a duet. So if you have any stories about your parents or any questions about your parents that you'd love the genius of myself and the accompanying presence of Amanda to help solve, send in an email at
cometodaddypodcast@gmail.com.
Very good. You can find us on Audible. That's new. How exciting. And you can find us on Spotify and Apple Music. And you can find me lurking around the corner shop looking for expired milk.
What about the YouTube?
Oh, yes, you can also find us on YouTube and Instagram and Twitter.
I think the TikTok as well. Oh, you're on the TikTok.
I'm on TikTok. It doesn't need a preposition. My guest today is nothing short of a British television and radio icon, rising to fame as a presenter of Channel 4's The Big Breakfast and now a mainstay of BBC radio and TV with her own podcast. Effervescent, a lust for life and an attraction to neon that borders on the psychotic, it's Gaby Roslin. Gaby Roslin, come to Daddy.
Oh, thank you for having me. Please, can we talk about your bottom lashes?
Please, go away. Please do talk away.
Well, I've never had bottom lashes. I love top lash. I've never had a bottom lash. I want a bottom lash.
It's a certain skill. It's a certain skill and a certain tolerance for a sensation that is not altogether unpleasant. It does feel like you've got blinkers on, like
They
top
look
and bottom.
Cool. I love a long bottom lash.
Well, these are actually the smallest, most conservative lashes I own.
They're small, are they?
Yeah, if these
they?
were people, they would vote Conservative because it makes economic sense. But they'd have ideals still, and hope.
Oh, he's good.
This is so lovely to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
Now, first off, you're an amazing British presenter, but also you come from presenting stock. Your parents are also in the industry.
My dad was, not my mum.
Right.
No, not my mum. But my dad, yeah, he was one of the first voices on BBC Two television, continuity announcer.
Right.
And he also worked on Radio 4, BBC Radio 4 as a newsreader, and the Light programme before it was Radio 2. And he was one of the original people who launched LBC.
Right.
But he went back to the BBC. He was BBC through and through.
I feel like LBC is the way you know if your Uber driver is a good person or not.
I'll keep very quiet about what I think about
Okay.
other radio stations.
Perfect. Yes, do.
That's probably the safest way as a radio broadcaster as well. But no, but the interesting thing was he stepped out for about 18 months and then went back to the BBC. And I think he was the youngest ever person to ever read the news on the BBC.
Wow.
Yeah.
What did he step out for 18 months for? Drug running
No,
in
for
Cuba?
LBC.
Oh, for LBC.
And then
I
he missed the
see.
BBC so much.
Well, it's a beautiful thing and a wonderful thing. It's one of these things about Britain. You have these amazing institutions that are linked in with the government. You're thinking about, like, the BBC. You're thinking about the health system. You're thinking about all these things that sadly, slowly get eroded under Conservative governments. Anyway, that's my own personal political agenda, which I push through all my work because I bridge the gap between, self-promotion, self-harm and propaganda. It's a lovely line to tread. Now, look, we always start with the Come to Daddy questionnaire.
Go
It's
for
a
it.
great quick fire round.
Okay.
So, names of parents?
Clive and Jackie.
We love a hesitation on the name of the parents.
No, it's so weird because my mum always used to say, she died many years ago, Mum died 26 years ago, and she always used to say, can you not talk about me? You and your father have chosen this industry. So I still do it. It's so funny.
My mum is in the industry and is also, but still like that.
What does your mum tell me about your mum?
She's a filmmaker.
Oh.
She's a filmmaker, documentary and feature filmmaker, script writer, and script producer in Australia. She's brilliant and firm and refuses to quit smoking because it's impossible to put a vape out on an Uber driver.
No, tell her, no, stop.
Well, I just say you're 75.
No, stop. No, she's got to stop.
Oh, really?
Stop. Seriously, stop. It's what killed my mum. So my mum had smoking-related lung cancer. And I tell everybody, stop. Just stop. Just don't do it.
Well, she's tried to quit so many times, and it's not that she's not doing it out of a lack of knowledge. She knows the risk.
She
and
just
she's
wants to smoke.
Well, she's tried. You know what happened? She got the house painted because she thought it'll make her less likely to smoke inside. And all that meant is that my 75-year-old mother now smokes outside in the freezing cold with a blanket over her. And I'm like, well, now you're going to die of pneumonia. And if you do that, you won't have the lungs to get through it because they're basically an ashtray.
I love your mum.
Well, you can't tell parents anything because you're the child.
Oh, completely, of course.
Right? And also, you refuse to take any advice from your parents because they're your parents and you're trying to gain
but also
independence.
when you have kids, they try to say things to you and you say things to them. You want them to listen to you, but you don't always listen to them.
No.
Sometimes you do. You have to.
Well,
You learn new things. I like learning new things, always.
All right. Now, ages of parents.
Well, Mum died, as I said, 26 years ago, and she died when she was 61, and my dad is 88.
Oh, my goodness.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great age
It's a
to be
good
at.
age.
And where is Clive? Where's the family home?
London born and bred, and he's still in the same house that he had before I was born.
Is it lateral living? Is he like or has he got stairs to deal
Stairs. He has a chairlift now. Stairlift.
with? Oh, I love it. I love a chair. There's something very Norma Desmond about a chairlift to come down, going, I'm coming out of makeup.
And I have done that on the chairlift.
I knew you would.
You knew I had.
And the last question on the parental questionnaire: as a percentage, how much do you blame/credit your parents for how you've turned out?
Everything.
100%.
Yeah.
I love that. Obviously, they're not still together.
That would
Can you
be
imagine?
A bit odd.
Well, do you know what? My dad, because also my dad died 6 years ago.
I'm so sorry.
These things happen. It's sadly
That's life.
Fulfilling the role of a parent is to, set you up in the world and then make an exit. And
At some stage.
At some stage. And now that my dad has died,
How old were you?
I was 32.
Right, very young.
Yeah, and I remember thinking too young.
Too young.
Too young for him at 68, too young for me at 32. I wanted more time.
Yeah, I had exactly the same with my mum. So I know exactly what you mean. So
Yeah.
I was 31 when
You were
Mum
31.
died, yeah.
Were you around? Were you present?
Yes, oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
She had cancer for a while. We were told she has 6 months to live, and 6 weeks later she died. But she didn't want to know the clock. So Mum and Dad both just said, because Dad had cancer at the same time, and they were in 2 different hospitals with 2 different cancers. Dad had bowel cancer, Mum had lung cancer, and they both said to each other, we don't want to know if there is a clock on our lives.
I don't know if I could do that. That feels so strong.
She was a very strong
yeah.
woman. Oh, my mum was very strong.
Yeah.
So when she actually died, the nurse said to us that they were trying to give her oxygen. She went, no, that's it. I've had enough. She'd had enough. She'd been ill for a while, and she was in hospital. The day before, because my dad had had his bowel cancer and then he had 2 strokes afterwards. And Mum said to Dad the day before she died, and he was meant to be going the next day to get his checkup, his year checkup. And she said to him, Clive, you're okay now. And that's why we know that and then she didn't want us there. She was very strong. And she died. We got there and she'd already died. But she woke up at 7 and we got the phone call at 7:45. And she was like, nope. And she knew that we were all okay. That was
Great.
my mum. Right. You're okay. Fine. Now, that's it. I'm out of here.
I think there's something to be gained from a perfunctory utilitarian view of death, as opposed to the emotional kind of...
But nobody talks about death.
No, people are frightened too.
Yeah. And they're always very scared to talk about their experiences of it or their fear of dying. I want to live forever because I love to be alive. I love waking up in the morning. I don't sleep very well at night because I can't wait for the next day.
Yeah.
I was like that as a child. Always loved it.
Were you raised in quite a Jewish family?
Traditional, very traditional.
Traditional family.
My great-grandfather was a rabbi.
Oh, wow. With where are you on the Reform to Orthodox spectrum?
Brought up as Orthodox, but I'm a traditionalist. I suppose
Right.
that's the best way.
Okay.
Married out, but my girls are Jewish.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah.
I was raised Jewish until... just the sign say, more
Jewish?
Well, I'll just do
Oy
the whole...
vey!
Gefilte fish.
As in more Jewish chat. I didn't mean you had to
Well, I was
sound
doing more
Jewish.
Jewish.
That
Yes,
would be
yeah, I know. We were going there. We were going there.
I was raised sort of on
Both your parents Jewish.
both of them. Dad's Russian and Mum's German.
Right.
And we were raised Reform Jewish, which is even then it's like the part-time version of Judaism. But I had this moment at my bar mitzvah when I was turning 13. Basically, my parents said, you'll be raised Jewish until you do bar mitzvah, and then it's your own decision.
Choice. That's what my parents said to us. I've just remembered something that my mum did, talking of saying this. So I did a show years ago called The Big Breakfast, and with the biggest stars used to come on. And Billy Crystal came on, and my favourite ever film was When Harry Met Sally. That's got nothing to do, but I love Billy Crystal. And after the show, I remember going round to Mum and Dad's, and Mum said to me, did you ask Billy Crystal if he was related to us? Oh, no, I didn't. Why? And she said, I've always been convinced he's related to us. I said, no, but he did talk about his grandma farting. And my mother went, well, there you go.
That's brilliant. What can you say to that? How are your kids doing with Judaism?
They've both got fathers who aren't Jewish. And
Just quickly, what ages are they?
21 and 16. But
Right.
they say they're Jewish. And we don't keep a lot, but we don't. I've never eaten pig and shellfish in my life.
Right.
And I just suddenly became very, in my life, I've never
Yeah,
done it. I've never.
Also, for a second, I thought Pig and Shellfish was a pub.
Yeah, no, never been
was
to
like,
that pub either.
I've never been to Pig and Shellfish.
No. But they're both, if you were to ask them, they'd say, "Oh, we're Jewish," and we keep the festivals, and they. I mean, only go to synagogue a couple of times a year, but that's my choice. I don't choose to go, and they don't.
Did you, when your mum died, did you do any sort of Jewish mourning, or did you go through any processes like that?
She wanted one night of Shiva, which, as you will know, means 7, and it's the 7 nights, so it's 7 days of mourning. And Mum and Dad both said they only ever wanted one day. And actually, when I go, that's what I want. I want everybody to sing and dance. I want every single person that I know to wear bright colours and to sing as loud as they can musical theatre songs.
Oh, I love that. Any particular composer?
Well, I'm going to take a bit from each of my favourite musicals. I want something from West Side Story, something from Chorus Line. Mm-hmm. One Singular Sensation probably. And Give Me Somebody to Dance For. I'm going to do a bit of that from Chorus Line as well. And musical theatres, I love musicals.
I think the idea of someone wanting One Singular Sensation from a chorus line at their funeral is the campest thing I've ever heard.
Well, I want everyone to laugh because my big thing since I was teeny weeny weeny was I wanted people to... It sounds corny, but when I was 3, I knew I wanted to do telly because I knew TV made me happy and filled me with joy. So I wanted to do TV because I wanted people to feel joy. And so I want that at my funeral.
Keep listening for more intimate chit-chat after these short messages. Yes, ads. We're part of the problem. All right, so obviously you have these 2 wonderful daughters. Did Jackie get to meet them?
No, my mum... That's the thing that I feel the saddest about, that she never met her granddaughters. She would have driven me mad. I know my mum would have driven me mad because always with Mum, her way was the best way. And also, she never got to meet my second husband, who I'm with and will be forever. But it's quite. I always have this funny thing in my mind that because my mum loved dogs more than she loved people.
Sensible.
We know somebody like that, don't we?
I don't know what you're talking about.
We know someone like that.
I have had to record almost 9 episodes of this podcast next to 2 aging pugs in prams.
They're fabulous.
Just one of them needing a nebulizer for its sleep apnea mask.
Velma's with us.
Yeah.
With us in spirit.
Yeah, we feel a connection.
I do.
Was she still alive?
I know.
Well, she
No,
was.
she's
Yeah.
with us. No,
When I left the house this morning.
Yeah. Oh, stop that about your dogs.
I've
No,
got
so
some
you've got to
terrible news
laugh
about Velma.
What's the news?
She's still alive.
Oh,
Can't say that.
see?
Don't say it in front of me. I'm blocking my ears.
Are you? I'm guessing animal lover.
Me?
Yeah.
I obsessed with animals.
Animals, pets.
Yeah, no, I can't. But that's what I'm going to say. That's how it started because my mum loved dogs more than people.
Right.
My husband is allergic to dogs.
No, the worst allergy there can ever be.
No, I know.
I'm allergic to cats.
I'm allergic to cats. I don't
Not
care.
fussed about it.
No, me neither.
Couldn't care less. They gaslight you into a
No,
relationship.
I know. No,
They're like bad boyfriends, but a
no,
dog is
no,
forever.
dog, I know, please. I love dogs so much. I've never not had dogs. But I had to choose between my husband and a dog.
The greatest wound that I carry with me is that because I live a life of impermanence on the road, like Francis Gum in a suitcase, can't have a dog.
Eventually you will.
One day. I
One
won't have
day.
kids, but I will have a setter.
Dog. A setter. Red setter.
I think a red setter. Something
yes.
big and fluffy. With your upbringing, do you sometimes see traits of yourself from your parents? Hangovers, if you will?
Yes.
Parental
absolutely.
hangovers?
Yeah,
What
absolutely.
are some of those?
My father has never grown up, and I never will. And my mother was very strong, that's sort of me. Just I like to laugh at myself. And so my mum and dad, big gigglers.
Oh, well,
And
that's...
my every school report said Gaby doesn't stop talking and Gaby doesn't stop laughing, and that was my life.
Active participant in class discussion.
I would laugh.
Did you do a lot of schoolwork? Did you?
No,
Because
because
I
knew
didn't hand in
no,
any.
I knew I wanted to be a TV presenter.
When I got to school, I just thought, well, I don't need any of this because I know the career path, so I don't need the hierarchy, I don't need the grades, any of this kind of thing. So it gave me this sense of, I don't know, I felt like an anarchist in school.
No, I was very good. I was a very good girl, but I giggled all the time.
That's
Every single report was Gaby doesn't stop talking. I talked all the time, and I still do, and that's why I was aptly named and aptly jobbed as it were. But I knew I just wanted to be a TV presenter. So I used to present. There's a TV show here, kids TV show called Blue Peter.
Mm-hmm.
So I used to pretend. I used to come back from school and I used to sit next to the television when Blue Peter was on, and I'd be the next presenter on it. And my dad would sit there with a box on his head and pretend he was a camera, and that's how we did it. And Mum would have a loo roll and she'd write things, so I learnt how to do auto cue. And then when I wasn't doing that, and they said, "Right, you're going to do your homework," I'd go upstairs and I'd present other shows in my head.
Well, now I feel my parents have been completely negligent if they didn't suddenly ape a cameraman and an auto cue.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. And was that in Zimbabwe as well?
No, that was all. No,
in UK.
My dad was born in Zimbabwe, but came
Right.
here to go to RADA when he was 18.
Gotcha.
And so I was born here and went to Zimbabwe every year of my life because my grandparents were there and my cousins.
I see. And what was it like going back to Zimbabwe?
Oh, it was fantastic. It's
Yeah.
the most beautiful country in the world, and the people are wonderful and so welcoming. And my grandmother was the first female MP in Zimbabwe, and she fought to get Ian Smith out, and she fought for a multiracial society because she loathed what was happening there. My granny was the best granny on the planet. She was amazing, and she was the one that started up the first multiracial children's home and old age home, because she couldn't stand this. Racism, anti-Semitism, homophobia, anything. I was brought up to know that was wrong from the minute that we could think or speak. I was taught that though from a very young age. Both of my parents, nobody was ever better. You weren't better than anybody, and they were very unjudgmental. I hate people who are judgmental. I think that's what stayed with me. I hate bigots. I don't hate a lot, but I hate bigots. There we go.
Well, there's a good thing to hate.
Yeah.
It's a good thing to hate, but it's a blocking off of any kind of conversation and any kind of understanding, because you're pushing an agenda based on your own fear.
Just
and
be
your
kind. That's what my dad always said. If you can be anything, be kind. And the big thing that both of my parents said: follow your dreams, but don't hurt anybody in the process. And I pass that on to my kids.
That's really lovely. And your kids listen?
Yeah, they believe in following their dreams, and they're doing that.
That's fantastic. Do you think, is there like a particular moment that you can remember that you wished you could speak to your mum for a moment?
Yeah, when I had my babies.
Yeah?
Yeah, without a doubt. And I used to get angry and go, "Why aren't you here? You promised you were going to do all the babysitting." She wasn't there to do the babysitting. They don't need babysitters anymore. They babysit now. That's weird.
Your kids babysit now?
They babysit for other people's kids.
And do they then kind of get a sense of what it's like when babysitting, a taster of what it's like to be a parent?
They both want kids.
Yeah. And have they...
Not yet.
Not yet, no.
No!
16 and 21,
No!
No. I mean, 38, no. No. Sorry, redact that. 25, youthful 25, playing age 19 to 25.
I'll have you dubbed.
Thank you. Can you please get Tom Hiddleston to dub me? Thanks. I think that's
He'll be here in 20 minutes.
great. It's a good fit. All right.
You look like him.
Do I?
Oh, my God. Yes.
Great. We're keeping that in. Reuben K, double for Tom Hiddleston. And The Wage as well. Now, have you ever rebelled against your parents? Or how were they strict?
No, they weren't. My parents did the opposite to everybody else, because everybody else's parents, it was something, I remember it vividly. Everybody else's parents would say, "What time are you going to be home?" And my parents never asked. And I used to think, it's really weird. Why they never ask? Because I never went clubbing. I never did any of those things. I just wanted to be a TV presenter. That's all I wanted to do. And we were friends. We used to go around to each other's houses and hang out. I was very, very, very shy. So I couldn't speak at 15 if I went to a party. But put me on stage or something doing a show, I'd be fine. I'm still like that now. And but
Yeah, you've been shy and retiring
No,
this
I
whole
am.
interview.
You make me I can't go to a house party. I'm far too shy.
Oh, really?
When I first met my husband, we'd been going out a few weeks, and he said, "Will you come to so-and-so's party on the Saturday night?" And I said, "No, I can't go. Please don't make me go to this. I don't know anybody. Please don't make me go. Please don't make me go." He was like, "What? You're on telly. No, please don't make me go. Please don't make me go. I'm too shy. And then the next night, we were at the Albert Hall for a charity event, and it was one of my charities. And 5 minutes before the show started, they came and talked to me, and I was there with my husband. He was my partner at the time. And they said, "Gaby, the MC has food poisoning. will you come and do the show? I went, yeah, of course. And I went and did a 2-hour show, live show on stage. I didn't know, I hadn't had any rehearsals. I loved every minute. Honestly, my husband's face, he was like, what? Oh, what? I went, that's different.
It is a very, very different skill to be able to speak on stage and to be able to just walk up to someone and go, hi, and
I'll talk to anybody.
Begin a conversation at a house party.
I'll talk to anybody in the street.
Yeah.
So every single day, people stop and talk to me.
So
and
what's at a house party?
Oh, get all shy! Don't make me do that.
What is
no,
it?
I don't want to do it.
But you know why?
Yeah, because the teenage me comes back every so often. So at 15, I was so shy, and that teenage angst comes back. That oh my god, and then people would say to me if I ever went to a party, oh, what do you want to do? I'm going to be a TV presenter. And they go, huh? But there we go.
From the most unassuming.
I talk about shyness all the time. I don't think people talk about it enough. But I know that the shy me. So when there's a show called Strictly Come Dancing, I wouldn't do it in a million years because I'm far too shy. I couldn't do. I know I couldn't. I would honestly just cry. It would be not for me. I will on Instagram. I jump and dance around and take the absolute piss out of myself, and I never take myself seriously.
You wouldn't see it as a parallel to the Albert Hall gig?
No, not at all. Oh, make me dance in tight lycra. Give me the lashes. Give me the fake tan. Give me the sequins. But in my own time, not on Strictly.
Now it's time for you, our esteemed guest, to take a break from the conversation and delve your hand into the Come to Daddy Pick and Mix. This is where you get to choose a story to share about your parents. Please use the gloves and tongs provided. The first, are we there yet? Gaby, Roslin, do you have any traumatic or hilarious holiday stories?
Yes, I do. Going to Victoria Falls. My grandparents lived in Harare and my cousins lived there. And we'd go to Victoria Falls. The whole family would go up there, always at Passover. There we go. So we'd all go up there. And there was one time we were driving and there were 3 car loads because there were a lot of us, big cousins, best family. I love my cousins. We were all in a car and then suddenly the cars all start reversing. And everyone's going, Jumbo, 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 because there was an elephants in the road. And so the cars were reversing and my dad couldn't get the car into reverse. And I just going, it's all right, stay, I love elephants, because I love elephants. So I didn't mind. And my dad trying to get the car into reverse. So that's just one of those sort of crazy memories I have.
I love that. There's a lovely innocence of a kid going, I love elephants.
I love elephants. I still do.
But a large bull elephant
No, I love them.
Yes, but even then coming at you, you're not going, well, there's an element of danger here that I have to...
Because I love elephants.
Shy at a dinner party, not scared of a charging bull elephant near Victoria Falls.
Yeah.
You do indeed contain multitudes. Look at this. All right. What about, it's so unfair? No, it's so unfair. Is there a call that your parents made as a child that you still harbour
yes.
bitterness over?
Yes, not bitterness. When I was about 15 or so, I really wanted to do the summer do a drama course or do something because I wanted to be a TV presenter, as I keep saying. And my dad had gone to RADA. There was nowhere you could go to do that. And about 15 or 16, I said, please, I just want to go. And I think it was I don't know what it was, but I remember desperately wanting to go. And it was a place that did musical theatre. And my mum said, no, you got to do that when you leave school, not before you leave school. And I always tell that story. I always say, my mum didn't let me do this musical theatre course in the summer holidays when I was 15. She's probably up there now just going, oh, she's not still going on about that story.
Our final gauntlet here at Come to Daddy. Gaby, Roslin, first off, thank you so much for coming in.
Oh, thank you for having me.
This last one is called Shall I Be Mother? Shall I be mother? And every guest has to do it. You look into my eyes and imagine me as either one of your parents, Jackie or Clive, or an amalgamation of both, blurred as I am between the gender lines, and speak honestly from the heart. What would you say to them?
Why didn't you let me go to that musical theatre school? I love musical theatre, but it didn't stop me loving musical theatre. So thank you.
It's a pleasure. Gaby, Roslin, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you. Do you know what? I had no idea what I was going to say to that answer, and it just came out.
Just came out. Gaby, where can our listeners find you next?
Well, on the radio and on television and on my podcast. If you go to all streaming podcast platforms, that Gaby Roslin podcast. I can't even say my own name. That's really crap.
You're doing really well.
I can't say my own name.
It's been a
Gaby
journey.
Roslin, that's the one. Like that Gaby Roslin podcast is available on all platforms, and we are going to be launching season 4 soon.
Oh, brilliant. Well, I can't wait
Will you
to.
come on mine?
Absolutely, I will.
Yes, thank you. And you come on my radio show,
Sure.
BBC Radio London Sundays and BBC Sounds.
You can't stop me.
Good.